Hello there, welcome back to the Ogre, the old Git Reacts Reviews and Off Times Reminiscences. Today we're doing one of those artists that ordinarily I wouldn't particularly be interested in because their style of doing things in a general sense isn't the sort of music I like, but everything has its exceptions, as we've discussed before, and the way Lepra do what they do, I quite enjoy. And so it's a case of sometimes it's unexplainable, and as is the case with music, you either get it or you don't. On this occasion, I do. So let's listen to Old Growth, which I think is. I heard this album yesterday for the first time, and I've got things to do next week, so I won't have a chance to do any videos. So I thought I'd do it now whilst the iron strike, whilst strike whilst the iron is hot. Don't get old, folks. Don't get old. Let's go. I think one of the things that's grabbed me most, not most, but one of the things that grabbed me about this album is that bass is filthy, and it tanks along as if it's about to collapse under its own weight. Sometimes music suits a nice rounded, jazzy, sort of upright, bassy sound, and sometimes music benefits absolutely from a distorted sort of aggro bass, which we've got here. Marvellous. So we've got the that sort of switch between harsh vocals and clean singing vocals, and very often it's the clean singing that shuts things down for me and loses me. But here now, from the very brief listen I've listened of the album, the vocals remind me a number of things, and again, it's not a comparison, it's just a sort of a flavour that I get from it. At times I'm reminded of Miranda Sex Garden, and other times I'm reminded of some of the guest vocals on Meads of Asphodel, but they are compelling and strong, which is the main thing. The other thing is the keyboards here have a whimsical nature about it, and often we use whimsy as a way of sort of describing something that's verging on quaint. But here, really, we are talking about that mischief associated with whimsy, and it's that sort of hall and mirrors distortion as well, you know, that sort of lends you to the assumption here that there's something of the arcane about what's going off. Something's just twigged. I might be totally wrong here, but I don't detect any guitar. If I do, it's very, very low in the mix, which would explain why that bass is so much to the fore. It is perhaps carrying the role of guitar and bass, and if that is the case, then they're doing a blooming good job of it. And it is that bass sort of surges throughout, and it sort of it is the rail on which everything else hangs off, I reckon. But it is that sort of shall I use a mining analogy? Yeah, I will. Back when I worked down the pit, there used to be haulage roads, and mine carts would go up and down, tubs we used to call them, would go up and down the rails, and they were attached by a manner of a clip, for want of a better term, to a haulage rope, a hawser that ran continuously around the haulage system for that particular area. And the bass here reminds me very much of that haulage rope that sort of was the basis for everything moving along down a mine tunnel. Yeah, it works for me, that one. So this song sort of might make you think that this artist's music sort of revolves around black metal influences, and I detect a little bit of punk rock in there as well. And you'd be right with this particular song, but the whole album itself sort of has far more varied genre influences than this song would perhaps suggest. So it is all over the place and virtually impossible to pigeonhole, other than to say it is blooming good music. At times it isn't necessarily my thing, but holistically, absolutely it is. And you know, I think most of us, we have our favourite sort of genres, but we do like to dip our toes in different waters, and you know, you can be perfectly happy listening to the same music all your life. But I think you'll lead a richer life if you do embrace other music. Although I do have my limits to that, but nonetheless, various veins of genres permeate through this rock, and it works very, very well. Anyway, I can't remember if this goes out on a rally. Let's see if it does or not. So there you go. A little bit of you could always say doomy outro there, but that bass is something that is probably the major constant throughout this album, in that it does say it's filthy and heavy and dense, but full of rhythm. And I'm trying to think if other tracks seem to lack a guitar. I've not listened to this enough to say so, but I think it may well be the case. But if it is, then you could argue the fact never have a guitar on a on an album ever again. Forget 6 strings, let's go 4 strings all the way. Anyway, clicky bollocks, catch you all next time. Cheerio.